Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here with a special live broadcast with Jamie Denyer. He's been on my channel before. You guys loved having him on, and I wanted to bring him back to talk specifically to y'all about feeling isolated, feeling lonely during the holiday season, how important this is to address and to not try to bury. Jamie has a personal experience dealing with the effects of what happens when somebody feels isolated, when somebody feels alone. And I wanted him to come on. He has such a great message anyway. Amazing experience. And he also just started, he's a TEDx speaker. Jamie, you have an incredible resume, but you also just started your own life coaching company, which I'm super excited about. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the topic of dealing with being isolated and alone during the holidays?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just all about bringing my kind of past life experiences into the present and using them in the present to kind of really help other people's futures. Do you know what I mean? Like their life experiences are their futures. And it's just a case of turning adversity into victory, because we can't let this kind of break us down. Like when all these tests and challenges come throughout our life, it's one of those, it will either make us or break us. So I don't kind of do breaking, as it were. So I'd like to make other people as well. You know, I've made myself, so I like to make other people, because I don't like to see other people breaking. And that's what I've always been about. So it's kind of bringing everything that I've learned in like the last 20 to 25 years, like even going back further to when I was younger, like showing leadership skills that I didn't even know that I was showing at that particular time, using all those years of what it is I've been through to actually like apply now and put it into Gladiator Life Coaching, because I liked that analogy that we go into life's arena and we kind of come up against like so many different opponents. You know, it'll be opponents that are like us. You know, you've got to put on different, you know, use different weaponry, use different armor. So that's all our different characteristics, our own different personalities, traits, like our own you know, our different like strengths and stuff. So but it's all about, you know, like within the gladiator kind of arena. No, you was fighting people, you know, they were fighting lions, you know. So right, there's all these different battles in which we face throughout life that we have to equip ourselves for. So that's why I like to use that analogy as well, because, you know, life can be a battle, it can be a fight, but like any fight, like any battle, you can win it, you can conquer it, and you can indeed overcome it. So that's what I like to bring.
That's so good. And I like what you're talking about with, you know, that there's going to be a fight. Maybe you don't know if you're getting in the arena with a lion, another person, or whatever struggle, you know, that life might throw at you. You don't know, but you can equip yourself to face that challenge, to face that opponent and come out on top. And that's really what I love about your life coaching. These are what I would call like basic skills that you need to get through life, but we don't do a good job as a society in general, a global society, of equipping people, of teaching people how to do this, of teaching resiliency. This is actually something that you can learn, you can get better at it, you can develop it like a muscle group, you know, you would at the gym. You can actually develop mental strength as well. So I love everything that you're talking about, and the fact that you do a lot of work with school-age children who are still in school, who are maybe experiencing bullying, which is actually how you started the whole speaking thing anyway, because your nephew suffered from that, you know, and the consequences that came from that. You turned that tragic event into something that is a weapon. It will prevent other kids suffering that same outcome, other parents even, from having to go through the tragedy that your family did. So I love what you're talking about.
Because I would love to, you know, I'd rather build strong children instead of trying to fix broken adults. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, is nipping it in the bud too, because I like to prepare them and tell them not if these challenges come, not if you're going to go through the tests, but when the challenges come and when you're going to go through the test. Because it's easy to sell you know, a vision, to sell the illusion of everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be all right. But it's one of those that no, hang on a minute. these tests are going to come no matter what profession you're in, no matter how big you are, no matter how strong you are, no matter how tough you are. Like, these tests are going to come in some shape, way, or form, not if, but when.
It's so good. And not only that, I was talking about yesterday on my YouTube channel, just really briefly, about how if you think that you're only going to experience happy feelings, like happy all of the time, like, you're missing the whole point of being a human. We're not robots. We're not ever going to just have amazing days. You know, we celebrate those things, and that's awesome. But to get to that pinnacle of feeling completion, of feeling accomplishments, whatever that you may get, reaching your goals, all of that stuff, that comes through hard work, that comes through feeling uncomfortable feelings too, that comes with disappointment, sadness, heartbreak, loss, all of that kind of stuff. Those emotions are equally as important as the joy that you feel when you get to wherever it is that you had wanted to go, when you finally get your dream job, or you get done with your degree, or whatever goal that you're going after. And if you don't know how to embrace the uncomfortable feelings, you'll never appreciate the joy, and you'll probably never even reach it because you're not willing to push through.
I couldn't agree more. And it's one of those that so many people, you know, that they look at certain situations and circumstances in life, you know, and it's one of those that they always want it to go smoothly. And when they do feel a bad emotion, they kind of think, oh, blimey, like, what's going on? Right, I should be feeling joy all the time. I should be feeling happiness all the time. But what you have to understand is those are there, you know, and they're legitimately there. You know, there is a reason for them. There's a very, very big reason for them. But what you have to understand is there is no positive in the world without negative. There is no negative without positive. It's just non-negotiable. So even when you look at the term, like the challenge, let's say, of loneliness, what is that teaching us at that moment? That is teaching us at that moment, to kind of maybe be really, really like secure, really, really comfortable in our own skin, and in our and to be happy with ourselves, and to have me time, and to be comfortable just us, but also to truly, truly appreciate the next time that you are with someone. Because it's like today, like, even when people are together, they are not together, in as much like emotionally, kind of mentally, psychologically. You can have a group of people like sat together that know each other, but yet they're on their phones, and they're kind of like worried, like speaking to other people that ain't even there. So they're not appreciating and being grateful for the people that are actually right there in front of them, physically in front of them. So maybe loneliness is there as a real test and a real lesson for us to truly appreciate the next time that we're with people. So yeah, there is no negative without positive. There's no positive without negative. This actually happened to me tonight as well. And I can speak from the heart that there is always a downside to something good, and always a good side to something bad. So it's non-negotiable.
That's right. And that's the whole lesson. See, a lot of people want to take only part of the lesson. You know, I only want to take this part, and I don't want to ever address the negative part. But until you learn the whole lesson, and how to be uncomfortable with loneliness, or how to be comfortable with disappointment, you're going to continue to repeat the same test because you didn't pass it. And life will continue to present you with opportunities to pass the test completely. You know, you'll never progress into another area of your life that you're not equipped to maintain, not just to enter into, not just to get into the door, but to keep it, to take that territory and really hold it, you know, and not have to regress. Something else that you were talking about too, with loneliness and being comfortable in our own skin. You know, loneliness isn't about being one-on-one. You can be with people and be lonely. It has to do with a heart issue. There's some issue with your own self. If you feel lonely, and by the way, human connection is normal. Wanting to connect with other humans, that's healthy.
Yeah, we're social beings, aren't we? We're social beings. That's the way we're designed. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. But if you don't know yourself, and if you're not happy with yourself, no other person is going to make you happy. And sometimes we'll feel that way for a little bit. You know, we'll feel that another person is kind of making us happy with ourselves for a little bit, but it won't be sustainable, because there's something that is missing that has to be fulfilled by your own self first, before you can ever truly connect with another human and appreciate who they are as a person, you know, and really really respect and honor and cherish that connection too. So I completely agree with what you're talking about in terms of being with yourself and being comfortable there first before trying to seek an outside connection.
Yeah, because people want to skip steps. They want to skip parts of the process in order to get to the end. You can't. And it's one of those that people put so much emphasis and so much power and authority into other people's hands, and they will put so much power over themselves, right? So they relinquish power to other people, and they put so much emphasis on other people's presence or absence bringing them happiness, right? So it's one of those that right, if this person's in my life, then I'm going to be happy. And sometimes they can be very, very toxic. Do you know what I mean? But you're just putting all your chips into the, like, just all in and betting them all on this person that, oh, as long as they're here, it's fine. As long as I'm not on my own, it's fine. It's better to be positively alone than what it is negatively with someone. So it's like, you know, when people relinquish their own power to other people, like whether their presence or their absence kind of causes them happiness, then you've really got to look at, you know, the core issue, which is yourself. So that's when you need to start working on yourself. You need to put in self-investment. You know, you need to be by yourself in order to learn this lesson. There's no other way to learn it. There's no other way that this lesson will actually take root and really make you blossom and flourish by other than you being by yourself, being on your own physically. But yeah, the big point in which you said, Doc, was about that you could be in a room full of 100 people, family, friends, people that you know, and you could still feel alone.
Absolutely. And you're actually touching on something that I deal a lot with my own clients. For those of you who maybe aren't subscribed to my channel or don't know, I deal with narcissistic abuse recovery. So people who have been in a relationship and yet been extremely isolated is my typical client. And who've had they just don't even know where their lives went, right? Like they started at one place and now their life looks completely different and they don't know where they lost control. Exactly what you're talking about, relinquishing their power to somebody else. They literally gave away the very thing that was their life source to somebody else who was just taking it and using it as a weapon against them. So I talk a lot about with my clients about the difference between attachment and connection. A lot of people will settle for attachment when what they need is true connection. You get attached to things when that thing you need it to bring you happiness. People can do this with money, with power, with social status, with a job, with a person, whatever it is, you know, with things, with you know, stuff that you can buy, like the beach house and the car or whatever. And those things, if they got taken away, that person would not be happy. That person's identity, in fact, was connected to those items or those people or those places. And they never, because their lives were filled up with all of these attachments, they never had space for true connection. So they didn't ever have space to make a true heart-to-heart connection with a person or a place, or because they were never, that spot in them was never met by them. Until you meet you in that level, you can't give that part away, right? Like you can't give away something that you don't have access to. You can't give away something you don't have. And so if you don't understand the difference between attachment and connection, and be aware of where you're putting your energy into, whether it's attachment or connection, you're going to be making all types of unhealthy choices and all types of unhealthy attachments that you're setting yourself up for failure, because those attachments will eventually get taken out of your life. And then you're going to be wondering who you are, what you're doing here. And loneliness is going to, you know, isolation, being by yourself is going to seem extremely overwhelming at that point. When all of those attachments are shaken out. So yeah, I love what you're talking about here, Jamie. Really good.
Yeah. And you know, especially at this time as well, there's so much, again, emphasis put on people coming together that I totally, completely understand why loneliness takes on extra significance at this time, because like people have become so reliant on routine over Christmas. They will literally be able to tell you how their Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day will go, at what time they will have dinner, when we're going over to see the family, what time we're going to sit down and watch TV, like what time we're going to watch the films, you know. So it is like a complete and utter routine. And right now, you know, like you was talking about the attachment and the connection, they've become so attached to like the routine that all of a sudden it's not only the fact that some people are going to be alone this year, but it's like a whole routine has been taken from them. So you have to look at, I think, like even deeper. And this is where people need to give themselves a whole lot of credit, because a whole year's worth of routine has been completely wiped out, has been completely taken away this year. And people need to give themselves, first and foremost, massive credit that, well done. Listen, you've got to Christmas 2020, nearly at the end of the year. You have got through the most trialsome, the most testing, traumatic, like ever evolving, ever changing, challenging year that's ever been. Like we've never faced this before, right? There's no blueprint in which to follow. There's no rule book. There's no guideline, but yet people have got through it. Like you need to know your resilience, right? You need to look back and be reminded of what you've already been through to get to this point. And yet you're putting a lot of emphasis on Christmas. You've got through 11 months. You've got through 11 months up until this point, and you're going to worry about 3 days like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Don't worry about, yes, it's going to be testing. Yes, it's going to be challenging. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. But I'm telling you that you will get through it. You've just got to dig in like you've dug in for the last 11 months. People are so worried. They are so worried, so focused and so concerned about the opponent that's in front of them. They often forget about all the other opponents that they've beaten, like behind them, right? They forget to look back. They forget to look back and remember all the other opponents that they've beaten, overcome and conquered. So don't worry about this opponent. Yes, respect it. Yes, acknowledge it. But remember, this opponent is just like any other opponent that you've beaten behind. So yes, respect it, but don't be fearful of it. But yeah, people are struggling because a whole routine has been taken away. But let's have a look at that as a whole year. A whole year's worth of routine has just been thrown out of the window. So yeah, so don't fear this time of loneliness. And you really have to look at, what can I learn from it? What is it teaching me? What do I need to take from this that will take me to the next level in life even? And like you say, Doc, like, you won't learn it. It won't go away until you take it on board and it really, really impacts you and you learn it and you say, right, okay, so it could be the first time, could be the second, could be the 22nd time, but it will keep coming back until you take it on board.
That's absolutely right. I love that. And, you know, I like what you're talking about too, with the perspective of remembering the stuff that you have gone through. And in fact, all of those other things that you have gone through have prepared you for this moment. Like, the reason that you're where you are now is because you've passed the past tests. Like, you've done a good job of facing those opponents and overcoming them. And that's what has brought you to the point that you're at now. And whatever thing that's in front of you now, you're fully prepared. You're fully capable of overcoming that. And having that perspective, you know, because you're exactly right. We get like tunnel vision, where we just get so fixated on what's in front of us that we forget, like, hey, I'm completely prepared to deal with this. I've been dealing with this for, you know, however many years or however many times. And like, this isn't going to be any different. This isn't going to be the thing that like does me in. Right. Mm-hmm. And especially what you're saying about 2020, like, for sure, this year has been so crazy. We're at the end. We have like 9 days left of this year. Like, I love the message of like, don't let these 9 days be the thing that like push you over the edge of like, I can't go on another day, or I can't make it through this, because you've made it through this entire year of all of the craziness, all the nonsense. And now don't give in just because it's like the holiday
exactly
season.
like Usain Bolt needs to run for 100 meters in order to kind of get the medal. It's like, it'd be a shame, it'd be a travesty if Usain Bolt was running for 90 meters and then all of a sudden gave up on the last you know, he's way out in front and he gives up on 90, 95, just stands still, and he doesn't finish the race. You know, this, you have to look at it in that context, that yeah, you are literally near the finish line. literally near the finish line to see this year out. I need you to stay here. I need you to stay here, people. Like, yeah, don't base the whole year upon what's coming up in front of you next. And it is all about looking back and what you have been trained for in the past and what has happened to you. And it's like when I take my whole kind of like story, right? When I take my whole kind of like life experience and my whole training, the boot camp that I've been in, right? That's how I like to look at life, is like a little bit of a boot camp, right? So you're training, you're being trained. Some days you will have good training sessions. Some days you won't. Some days you will have energy. Some days you won't. But I'd look back to 2012 that really kind of spun like my life around, massive life event. Yes, I had loads of other stuff before that. Yes, I had loads growing up, but the big life event, 2012, was when my 19-year-old nephew was murdered. Like that was a bone shaker. Like that rocked us to our core. And then after that, when you're going through stuff like divorces and financial ruin and stuff like that, and I'm having to move to different areas, and I'm away from my family, and again, that's kind of like loneliness, as it were, which is not nice at the time, but you've got to realize that is preparing you for upcoming events. And everything that I've been through up until this point literally got me to the point of May of this year. Again, another bone shaker, absolute bone shaker, was when the youngest of my two older sisters during lockdown took her own life. Now, she left behind 4 kids, 3 grandkids, and a devastated family. But from what I had been through in the past, it allowed me to still carry on my life coaching. Heartbroken, yes. Absolutely devastated, yes. But it allowed me 3 days after that, to be able to talk to a 22-year-old single mum, like who was on the brink. That's it. She had given up. I'm gone because her other half, her little girl's dad, had passed away suddenly, and now she didn't want to be here anymore. So for a split second, she took her eye off the ball. Like, you've got to be here for your little blessing. You can't pass that pain on to them. Yes, the pain in which you're feeling, yeah, it's normal. It's justified. Of course, it's a normal reaction to have to this kind of life event. But you can't go passing even more onto those tiny little shoulders. So people take their eye off the ball for a little while. But that's how she was thinking. And it was up to me at that point to talk her down. But because of all what I had been through, it allowed me to be able to do it at that point. So many people want to get to that point where they're emotionally intelligent enough, where they're strong enough, resilient enough to do that stuff. But you have to remember, I've gone through 30 years of boot camp. I haven't skipped any processes. I've literally done this as and when, and got to this point at the time when it is destined for me to be here, to be able to do what it is that I do. But I've skipped no processes. But I also remember what it is that I've been through. And it's at that point, like, you kind of think to yourself in a strange way, right, I couldn't stop from happening for what's happened. But now, because of what it's given me, which I have no choice over, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that has happened. Not thankful that it happened, but I'm thankful from what I can take from it in order to help other people. So yeah, it's all about remembering what it is that you've been through.
Yeah, and what's unique about you is that you've used the things that you've gone through to actually push you deeper into your purpose. Like how you're talking about with your sister's death, your sister's passing away, of taking her own life in this situation of lockdown and all of this kind of stuff, and used it to fuel your desire to never see that happen, or to save another family from going through that type of pain, and starting your life coaching. This is possible for, and actually I believe that this is the purpose of pain. I think that this is the purpose of pain, to push us into our purpose, like to push us deeper into what we are here to do, to make us better equipped to serve other people. And that's exactly what you've done. And this is possible for everybody, which I also love about your life coaching, because that's really what you teach too, is like, you can use what's happened to you, what's been the most tragic for you, what's been the most painful for you, and use that to make your platform, use it to literally hold you up. And I just love that that's what you're doing. So in this situation, like I know that the UK is going through like even more lockdowns now, like even more lockdowns right now, and some parts of the US, I guess, are doing that as well. But you know, in these, it kind of seems, this is what I pick up on the atmosphere anyway, is like it kind of seems like we've been in this vice grip the whole year, and now it's just like the year is just trying to like squeeze even harder, you know, just squeeze even more. And what I was talking about yesterday on my channel was sometimes we don't appreciate what we actually have, right? We get that tunnel vision, we get the we get so fixated on the problem that we forget, like we might have one problem, or we have a set of problems, but we also have all of these amazing blessings, things to be thankful for, and reasons to continue to push forward and to use what's happening to allow those things to grow. And so one of the things that I was saying yesterday is to really take an inventory of that. And specifically, the connections that you know are healthy in your life, like people who you know love you, even if you're not with them physically, you can still make a connection. You don't need to be in person. Like, yes, you know, I agree, like being in person is the best, but that doesn't, distance never stops a connection from happening, and it doesn't stop a connection from growing. So take inventory of who's in your life and make the first step. Be vulnerable. Reach out to those people. Tell them, I'm lonely. I miss you. I want to connect on a deeper level with you. Do you have time to call me? Can we speak on the phone, or can we set up a Zoom or whatever, a FaceTime? You know, can we have that type of interaction? I'm not doing very well. It's okay to be honest, and you need to be vulnerable if you want that type of connection. This is the difference between attachment and connection, by the way. Attachment, it comes from a place of like seeming strength. Like if I buy this thing, if I meet this person, if I have this job, like that somehow reflects on me. But connection will always require you to be vulnerable to get it. Connection doesn't come without vulnerability. You must be vulnerable to have that real thing, which is why, again, many people just settle for attachment because it doesn't require them to have pain.
And that's what more people need to do, Doc, is literally show a more vulnerable side, a more open and honest side, because it just seems to be that this society, this culture in which we're in, it's kind of telling you to just be tough, to kind of get on with it, you know, which to a certain degree, yes, you know, it is, but you can't do the hard work and kind of deny the hard work, if you understand what I'm saying. Yes, do the hard work, grit your teeth, get through certain things, like just plow through it, just keep on moving forward. It doesn't have to be running. Do you know what I mean? If you're running, or you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. Do you know what I mean? If you can't move, then just stand still and but stay standing. Do you know what I mean? But it's like you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it at that pace, right? So everyone tells us that we have to have this stiff upper lip and we've got to keep going. Yes, absolutely, do that, but don't neglect the hard work to still move forward if you can. Run, walk, crawl, stand still, but still reach out, still say these things, still kind of be open to other people, that is what you're about. But here's the thing, here's the dose of reality, right? That you can be so vulnerable, that you can be so open and honest, and people will still react in the way that they want to react, right? You've got no power over it, right? You can still reach out, because this is what a lot of people, like to do with mental health and stuff like that. There's this big kind of emphasis put on, you know, reach out and speak to people. Absolutely. That's what you've got to do, first step. But it is a double-edged sword, because people may gather the courage up, right? They may get so hyped up and kind of get to that point where they get brave enough to actually be vulnerable, to speak out, to reach out to somebody, and yet they don't get the help that they deserve. They don't get the help or the support that they want or need. The family doesn't kind of react in the right way. The friends don't react in the right way. And then they feel doubly as bad. Then they go 2 times more into their shell. So it's all about a case of working together. Like you've got to be rowing the same boat, right? The people that reach out, but the people that react as well. So it's all about reaching out and reaction as well. It's got to be the right reaction. But this is the thing, is we're fighting so many fires to do with culture, to do with society, to do with our own characteristics, to do with our human behavior and how we treat people, that there's loads of crossovers and there's loads of kind of negative reactions. Do you know what I mean? Like, a load of people would rather scroll through social media for 3 hours than actually speak to a member of their family for 10 minutes. So it's like that's what we're fighting against. There's always this, this mentality of, oh, it's all right, they'll be there tomorrow. It's all right, I'll get it done tomorrow. But no. You've got to seize the moment. You've got to do it right here, right now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, if something drastic does happen, something sinister or insidious does happen, you're then dealing with the massive emotional kind of battle of guilt, regret, and all that brings. So yeah, we really have to be more vulnerable first and foremost, but then the reactions need to be right, the time, the effort, the mindset needs to be changed. That, okay, right, we've got to start putting our priorities in order, and we've got to start investing our time into the things that mean the most, right? And that is time with, or give time to the people that mean the most to us, not social media and stuff like that. And you know what? When you look at a big element of this last 11 months of like 2020, it stripped us back to the core. All of a sudden, listen, the celebrities and the sports stars, they're not the most important thing in the world. Like the Bugatti Veyron ain't the most important thing in the world. People are just craving a hug with their, a cuddle with like their, with their parents, with their grandparents, with their family. There are people that are not seeing their children for a long period of time. Yes, they have to isolate. They might have got the virus, or they might have symptoms, and yes, they've got to isolate. So all of a sudden, the real important things are being brought to the front, that, and they're being shown, and it's all about our reaction. So from this moment on, are we going to really keep on focusing on those things that we want? The cuddles, the time with the family, just making beautiful memories, doing the simple stuff, doing the basics, or are we just going to do it for a little while, but then go back to our old ways afterwards? So it's all about the reaction as well. So there's so many fires that we've got to fight.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I couldn't agree with you more. And part of the process that we're all going through is the part of being vulnerable, reaching out. But part of the process is also handling people's reactions to us when we are vulnerable. They might not react the way that we hoped or had anticipated that they would. And that's still part of the process. That trial and error is still part of the preparation process for the next battle. One of the things that personally helped me in my life, when I stopped taking things so personally, like it was done to me, you know what, this is part of the process. I'm in this process. So, I was in the Army. When you're going through basic training, everybody is treated the same way, whether you deserve to be yelled at or not deserve to be yelled at, if you deserve to be made to do push-ups or not deserve to be making, it doesn't matter. If one person did it, like everybody's doing it, like everybody's going to get the same treatment. And what I started to do was really like look at life that way. Like life is the basic training. It's not you personally. Yes, you can affect the way that you can affect the atmosphere that you go into. So if you know that that's going to be a toxic atmosphere, just don't put yourself in that situation. Like stop making unhealthy choices, right? But stuff is going to happen to all of us. Like people are going to lose jobs. People are going to have family crises. People are going to have health issues. This is going to happen whether it's 2020 or not, in this crazy year or not in this crazy year. It doesn't matter. That stuff is just going to happen. And it doesn't mean like you're a bad person or you deserved it. Like I feel like a lot of people take things very personally. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Yeah. Where if you can stop looking at it that way and like really embracing like, oh, this is about me. Like this is part of the process. This is part of my training. This is something that I need to go through in order to grow and to be able to, like I said, not just enter into the door of your next season, but to really take that land. Like that's your space. You're not going back. You're not going to go backwards because you're going to pass this test because you're fully prepared for it. And so again, being vulnerable with people, that, yeah, it's a trial and error thing for sure. But also just just try not to embrace, like, if they don't react the way that you want them to react, number one, that's out of your control anyway. But number two, how you respond to that is also part of the training. Learning to deal with that type of disappointment, even rejection, you need to know how to handle that appropriately, or this is going to cause deep wounds that you're going to take out on people that didn't cause those wounds to you. And again, instead of having that connection, you're pushing away people that could be adding value to you, a value to your life. So this is still part of the process. How people react to you, and then what you do with that, that's still part of the process.
Yeah, because again, the personal thing comes into it, and even in the most like severe cases, like even in the most like sinister situations, like if we're talking about any form of abuse, right? Let's say physical, sexual, psychological, emotional abuse, that you think to yourself, right, okay, like it's because of me this is happening, it's because of me, and it's like no, it's nothing to do with you. It's them and it's their issues. Listen, it's them and their insecurities. It's their and their failings and like that, and their shortfalls. Do you know what I mean? It's all to do with them. We've got to start kind of taking it on the chin, because this stuff is going to happen anyway. Like I said at the start, it's not a case of if it happens, it's when. And also how many times, because it's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep coming back. And like I say, people like to overcomplicate things, right? And I love little details, right? I love the little things, because I actually think that that's the key to life. That because it's not all about like one massive change. It's all about tiny little changes made clubbed together to actually get the outcome. But it's like people will often say, oh, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, right? No, you're overcomplicating things. If you get knocked down 7 times, you only need to get up 7 to stay standing, to finish standing. So when 7 tests come along, make sure that you battle back against them 7 times. You haven't got to go that one extra even. So it's like, again, these battles are going to come no matter what. A lot of people think, do you know what? Right, okay, so I'll take one test. I'll take one test, and that's me. I've paid my dues now. That's me. I've kind of paid my debt to life. It's going to leave me alone now. Guess what? It's not. No. It's going to come back again and again and again and again, and in many, many different ways. But you have to understand, it doesn't matter how much money you got in the bank. It doesn't matter what car you drive, no matter what designer clothes you wear or what house you live in. These tests are going to come in some shape, way, or form. And when the bomb drops, right, there are certain things that come that it doesn't matter, like whatever material possessions that you possess, you would give them up in a second to reverse that test that you may be in. That's how important they are. That's how important they are, because you can't pay your problem off, and you can't put it in your Bugatti Veyron and tell it to keep on driving, never ever come back. You can't lock it in one of your 6 bedrooms in like your 6-bedroom mansion and never ever go into that room again. You can't just deny it. You have to hit it like head on. You have to hit it face on, and it shows you what is truly important. And it's so many people want to invest in all the glitz and the glamour, and that's what we're dealing with in society as well. Is there's so many people out there that are just selling the illusion that life will be amazing. That's all you've got to do is think positively. That's all you've got to do is believe and achieve. And guess what? The universe is going to give you everything that you desire, and it's all going to be amazing. But then they're leaving out the big part. Right? They're telling you about the reward, but they're not telling you about the resilience that you're going to need in that entire process, because they are blinding a lot of people with like materialistic gain. But you have to look at the resilience that's needed to just get through life sometimes. But these problems are going to come. Yes, rewards can come in many, many different forms, but let's have a look at the rewards. Let's start with the little rewards of like making people happy, being kind to them, being appreciative and grateful for who you're around, giving time to others, showing love, care, and affection, all the little things. Let's start putting them in place to start building a wall, because I've never known one wall ever to be built in one massive slab of concrete. It's block by block by block by block. That's how walls are built, but that's the strength. And also it looks nicer at the end, but it takes time, it takes effort, but in the end, it is worth it. And that's what you've got to do in life, is build your own wall. Now, a wall is very, very significant because it keeps what you love, adore, and cherish and care about inside and safe, and what you don't like outside. It's like protection. So that wall is your resilience, is your kindness, is your generosity, you know, your characteristics, your personality traits, you know, how strong you are, how courageous you are. Those are the stuff that you can protect your family with. You know, it doesn't have to be a physical wall, but yeah, do all the little things and build it into one big thing.
That's so good, Jamie. You know, I really feel like the number one thing about 2020, at least for me, that the lesson was that there were still places where I had, in this wall analogy that you're using, which I love, by the way, that I had maybe, I put a brick up, you know, I put some more bricks, but I didn't do a good job of like sealing those in, right, with that stuff that goes in between.
The cement, the mortar, yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
The stuff that's in there. I know what you meant. Carry on.
Yeah, the cement that goes in between those bricks, like there's cracks in there, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, you did a lot of the work, but you didn't do, you know, and again, I'm speaking about myself personally, like there was stuff that I didn't do I didn't seal up those places. There were still cracks in the wall. There was weak places there. And really being able, because a lot of stuff, there was a lot of tests in 2020 that I didn't even have to take because I'd passed them so well before, right? There was tests in 2020 that came around that I passed straight away because I'd been used to that test. I've already passed it, and it's no problem for me to take it. But then there was other ones where it's like, wow, that crack was there this whole time and I didn't know, you know? And so it's all about perspective, the way that you look at it. If you're going to look at this, any kind of situation, whether it's isolation or loneliness or some feeling depressed or anxiety or, you know, stress or whatever, if you don't look at it like, what is this thing going to teach me? You're just going to keep letting that take away your energy. The very thing that could cause you to overcome that, you're now like putting it underneath this burden instead of it pushing you over the top of it, you know? And so for me, I started to really look at the places where it was like, whoa, how did I, you know, miss that this part, you know, of the wall needed cement and I didn't put any there. And so if you can start changing the way that you look at it, instead of like, again, what did I do to deserve this? Or, you know, how do I get out of it? Even, you know, lots of people just try to like avoid the process of like, oh, you know, can I pay somebody to take care of this for me? Or, you know, how do I avoid dealing with this issue? But if you'll actually approach it like, this thing needs to teach me something. I need something from this situation that I can't get anywhere else. I can't pay somebody. I can't read it in a book. I'm not going to learn it any other way except to look at it right now, face it, you know, honestly and openly. And if I don't do that, I won't, you know, be able to not just get out of this uncomfortable feeling that I'm feeling right now, but also, you know, again, step into the next thing, like be in the middle of your purpose, be doing what you're supposed to do, let alone give it away to other people. You know, a lot of people are out there trying to serve others when they have nothing to give because they themselves are so empty, you know, and they think that they're doing everybody, you know, like this is what they need to do, instead of recognizing like you actually need to do that for yourself first. You know, I tell my clients there's times during the day that they cannot book me every single day. You know why? Because I'm doing meditation and I'm a better person when I have quiet time set into my schedule. And I arrange.
But you have to be the best version of yourself to be the best benefit to them. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to put on your own oxygen mask in the plane crash, right? So that's, you know, before you deal with anyone else. So anyone has to know that there would be the threat that someone might take that personal, right? You can't book me now. You can't book me here. And I must have done something wrong, you know, for her not to want me at this time and blah, blah, blah. You know, all with these different things. And there could be a real risk of them taking that personal. But, you know, it's one of those that, no, listen, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it for myself. I'm putting my own oxygen mask on because I'm going to be the best benefit to you. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be the best coach for you so I can be in the best mind space. And from what you were saying as well, right, because so many people They take it personally, and what they're doing is they're putting so much pressure on themselves. Life puts pressure on you anyway, right? And you need to, right, don't add to that. So I need you to kind of take the pressure away from yourself as well. And with the analogy that you was saying about building the wall, Doc, right? And you were saying during this 2020, I was putting some bricks up, right? And I was building, and I was putting that stuff in there, you know, to kind of build, you know, to seal them and all that. But you know, there were some bricks that weren't very good and all that. But I need people to step back and kind of be your own cheerleader, because at the end of the day, so many of us are our own worst critic, our own worst enemy, with what we say to ourselves inside our own head. And when we are alone, which this situation is given to so many others, it's the realization that, yes, in life, we will need to stand alone sometimes. And when we stand alone, and we win a battle and we overcome it and conquer it, that's when the victory is even sweeter. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. So you are alone. So during this time, during this 2020, you were actually building. You were actually building. You were putting bricks up. So do you know what I mean? So let's be our own cheerleader for that. Give yourself some credit. And it doesn't matter if things aren't done perfectly. It doesn't matter if things aren't done to a certain standard. At least you are doing them. It doesn't matter that the cracks are there. Listen, cracks appear in life, left, right, and center. No one can be perfect. And it's summed up. But like it's custom in Japan that when, say, an ornament is broken, right, and they repair it, they don't just repair it with super glue. Do you know what they repair it with?
Gold.
Liquid gold, absolutely. Yes, they repair it with liquid gold, so you know the cracks look even more you know beautiful. Like it's actually saying, yeah, do you know what? I'm vulnerable enough to actually have a crack, to do these cracks, and I've got cracks in me and my personality and what I've done in the past. But you know what? I'm proud of them because I sorted them out and I fixed them, and they are worthy of being you know shown and advertised with gold. So at least you were building a wall, Doc. At least you were giving it a go. At least you were doing the work on yourself. You was acknowledging the cracks. You was, because people are putting pressure on themselves. So many people are putting pressure on themselves during this Christmas because they think that it's the break from the old routine. I haven't got as many gifts for my kids, or I haven't got this, or I haven't got that, and they're not going to have you know as many fun times with as many fun people as what. But listen, you've got to look at the blessings. You've got to look at the blessings, right? Are you going to be in a home with electric and with gas? Are you going to be with the heating on? Are you going to have food in your stomach? Are you going to have clothes on your back? Are you going to at least be able to give some presents to them? Absolutely. But let's not forget that, again, this is an opportunity to educate the little ones, because I've said before, it's so much better to educate like the youth and help build resilient youths than what it is to help fix broken adults. That you have got a chance, and it's an opportunity that even with the babies, to even say to them, listen, this is the true meaning of Christmas, to be with me and for me to be engaging with you, not just open up loads of toys at fast speed and then all of a sudden just leave them to it and actually go play. Make an event of each and every toy. Make an event of each and every present. Take your time when it's open. Talk to them about it. Like, engage with them, right? Tell them that this is what we're going to do with this toy. This is what we're going to do with this remote control car. Is we're going to go over into the park and like we're going to play, and like, you know, we're going to build a little ramp for it to jump off and all that. And all of a sudden you set their minds alight. All of a sudden you're engaging with them, and the cogs are turning. So all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how many presents they have. It's not the quantity, it's the quality, and the quality of what you give them. So this opportunity is here. The opportunity is here, but it doesn't take away the fact that so many people are putting so much unnecessary pressure on their own shoulders. Listen, 2020 has already done enough of that. Don't add to it.
Wow. Yeah. No, I really couldn't agree more. You know, I think what you said, the thing that stuck with me the most is like, you know what, at least you were trying. You know, you're not ever gonna get it right the first time. You know, very rarely is that gonna happen. And that isn't the lesson. The lesson is like, are you learning? You know, are you incorporating this into your life? Are you actually taking the situations that have happened and making changes with them? It's not like, oh, I did it perfect. Life doesn't give tests that way. Only in school. Mm-hmm. Only in school does it. But life lessons don't work that way. And I think exactly what you're right. You know, part of the wall that you're building is to push away that pressure that you're talking about, like that comes with life in general and 2020 especially, right? Like that pressure of you still have to do life this way, and you still have to try to make it go back into what it used to be, right? We've opened something and now we're trying to stuff it back in there, and it's like it's never going to go back that same way that it came out of there from. And we need to have that wall that keeps out that pressure. And what I found is that you have to do that for your own self first, because if you don't do it for yourself, you're teaching other people that it's okay to put that pressure on you, or even systems or organizations or whatever, like your job or your school system or whatever. Because if you are okay with putting that pressure on yourself, then everybody else will pick up on that and put that pressure on you. They'll see like, oh, okay, you're willing to take it, so I'm going to give it to you. And unhealthy people will do that all the time. Toxic people will do that all the time. They can sense that weakness. So I really appreciate what you're talking about with like, you know what? Yeah, there's cracks there, but who cares? Those parts can be the most beautiful because they can be made with the gold.
Like there's something, right? I just want to pick up quickly on what you said there, Doc, right? And about do you know what you put out there? It kind of give other people like the license to kind of do exactly the same thing. And it is so true. And it's why I'd like to throw in now and again some very, very harsh lessons within my coaching. I get kind of quite kind of icy, and it's all for the greater good. People will know that I will not leave them, that I will not go. But listen, right, there's only one way that I can teach this lesson. I've got to speak openly, I've got to speak honestly, I've got to be brutal, or I've got to be honest. Bang, because this is the only way that you're going to learn it. And you will see that this is for your own benefit, because so many people actually think like they will say, right, let's say for instance, a parent with a young daughter, or even, you know, an older female themselves, you know, they will say, you know, I you know, I found the wrong person again. You know, I got with the wrong person again. You know, she got with the wrong person again. And it's like, you know, she found the wrong person again. And I said, no, don't kind of take away the fact that they sniffed you out, that they kind of found you as well. Why? Because of what you was giving out. They're like, you know, their radar was off of the chain, and it's here we go, boom, right? And they went in laser guided focus to this particular person, and they're in it. Why? Because you're giving that out. You're giving the victim mentality out, because you're giving the victim mentality instead of the victor. So you have to start giving out the victim mentality, even if inside you're heartbroken, even inside you're breaking and you don't feel like it. You've still got to do it through gritted teeth, like this year has been, and like this Christmas is going to be for a lot of people. But as soon as you start putting out the victim mentality, other people are going to be treating you like it. And the ones that prey on the victim mentality, guess what? They're outside of the wall. They're outside. They can't get in. They can't come into your space, and like that takes away pressure, right? But that's amazing what you said, because yes, what people put out there, it's actually attracting that person, and then that person finds you.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a dream. I did a live maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. I had a dream where I saw these like two tracks and like railroad tracks, and one track, I was on this one track, and I knew where it was going. I didn't like where it was going. And then it stopped, right? The little thing, the cart that I was on stopped. And I had the availability to see like the entire picture in my dream. And I saw that if I decided right then and there, my intention was that, no, I like the other track better. I'm going to start operating as if I'm already on that other track. I'm going to start behaving like I'm already on that other track. Then that cart would find its way to the track, you know? And so my point here being, sometimes when you're in the recovery process, you've gotten so used to being a codependent, or, you know, this victim mentality that you're talking about, that you know, it's like that's the comfortable space. The uncomfortable space is for you to view yourself differently, to literally put yourself like you're already recovered, you're already healthy, and start making choices from that space. And it's really sometimes that easy for people to recover from all of the past experiences. They suddenly see like, You know what? All that stuff is going to serve me. I'm going to find a way to make all of that stuff that I've been through help me, push me, on to greater things. I'm going to use it all. It's not ever going to be wasted. And I don't have to spend not another moment on the wrong track. I can already start envisioning myself as a victor, and I can start speaking like that person. I can start making choices like that person. I can start attracting healthy people into my life like that person can. You can already start, like any given time, you get to do this. This is the power of your mind. It's amazing. And everything flows from thoughts. Everything flows from thoughts. The chair you're sitting on, the house that you're in, that all came as a thought in somebody's head. So, everything in life comes through your thoughts. So if you can change the way that you think about stuff, you'll change your actions.
Yeah, and there's the key word, Doc. There's the key word, and I'm so pleased you said it right at the end. Like the big fanatic, like you built it up, and there's an amazing word that you said at the end. It will change your actions, because everything is about thought. Yeah, you think about things, you will have all these positive thinking, and unfortunately, that's what society thinks all we've got to do, right? And let me tell you about this. You can be the most amazing person in the world, the most positive and productive. Things will happen to you. Guess what? You haven't attracted those things, right? Good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. That's just the way that it goes. But it's not just about attracting things to you, right? Because so many people just say it's the law of attraction, right? But I say it's all about, have that positive kind of thought, have that positive mindset, but it's not about the attraction. You have to take away the A, the T, and the R. And it's blatantly down to, after having that thought, having the law of action. You've got to back it up with what you do. No one thought about that chair, and that chair came into existence. You've got to go out and you've got to handcraft that chair. You've got to get the materials. You've got to get it there. You've got to work in a safe environment, and you've got to build that thing to top spec. So all that getting the materials, all like the wood and like the covering for it, the material, the covering to make it look lovely. That's all a part of the process. That's all a part of the training for that, then to build, to get the skills needed to actually build that chair, for then that chair to be brought into existence. Started with a thought, but it only comes about with action. And if you can think about all your recovery and stuff like that, think about being on that track, absolutely. But then you've got to kind of work your way back, right? What actions are needed for me to be on that track, for me to be at that destination? It's all about the action. It's all about the doing. And going back to when you were building the wall, I said, at least you were doing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be on point and spot on, but as long as you are doing it.
Absolutely. No, that is so good. Jamie, before we move on, I just want people to know you guys can put your questions. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this live. If you have any questions, Jamie will be here to answer your questions. So go ahead, type them in the little chat box. Sarah, can you also send me any comments from Facebook, please? And so if you want to have any kind of thing answered, please put your questions in the chat box. Yeah, exactly what you're talking about. Yes, you must make changes. These must be like real things. It's not enough to keep it inside. That might be reality for you, but that's not reality. You're not sharing that with anybody else. And until you're able to take what you've learned and put it into action, you really you don't know if you've learned or not. And just like you were talking about making the chair, guess what? I bet the first chair you make isn't going to be as good as the second one that you make, or the third one you make, or the fourth one you make, which is why, like, again, if you can look at the things that happen to you in life as this like refining process where I'm getting better at my craft, I'm getting better as a person, my character, my my value system, the things that I want, all of this stuff is coming into sharper focus for me. And instead of looking at it as like, what did I do? What, did I think a bad thought and then I attracted this stuff to me? Like, that's crazy. No, that's not how it works. So I completely agree with what you're saying. And again, it's stop taking everything so personal. Like, this is the situation. This is what it is. How can I get better through it? Let this thing serve you, not you just spending all of your time wondering why this is happening. Like, it's happening. Just accept it and get what you can from the situation.
Very much so. And so many people put like a lot of emphasis as to why they're not at the destination yet, or they haven't got the reward yet. But you've got to, and then that becomes a massive, sense of overwhelm, and it starts bringing people down, and it starts affecting people in so many different ways. But you've got to look at all of the positives, It's like you can be a recovering drug addict, alcoholic. You could have been like you could be into self-harm and stuff like that. And it's like there are times when you feel really, really down, right? Really, really down. And it's like you put so much pressure on yourself that you're feeling down, that you know, but you forget that there is progress there. Why? Because 2 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, when you were feeling down, what did you do? You went to drink and you went to drugs to actually try and numb the pain, to try and cover over life's problems. So it's like, now, listen, you are dealing with things in a different way. Guess what? That's success. You may have self-harmed in the past, and it's one of them that when these difficult problems come up, the exact same problems that you were dealing with 6 months ago, that you resorted to self-harm and all that, you're not self-harming anymore. So it's like, can you not see that that's progress? That's you making another chair that's all of a sudden that yes, getting better. You know, it still wobbles a little bit. It's still kind of off level, but do you know what? It's much better than the first one. The third one will be better than the second one, and the fourth one will be better than the third one. You can't rush the process. So many people want to run before they can walk. So it's like even now, people need to know that, like, you are forgetting about the training that you've had, you're forgetting about what you've been through, and you're just focusing on what's in front of you. Even being alone can be a positive thing, because it is teaching you things that you would never ever have been taught or learned in any other given situation. Being alone shows you that you can stand on your own 2 feet. It is the biggest lesson that I've taken from 2020, is to know that I can get through anything, just me. And that is priceless. That is a massive brick in the wall. That is a massive kind of part of my protection, because life will leave you alone. It will leave you stranded. People, you know, with all the best intentions, people that you thought were going to be there to support you, right? They've got your back. You know, the amount of times that people say, listen, I'm always here for you. You know where I am. I'm just a phone call away. And all that all of a sudden, when you need them, they're not there. All of a sudden, when you really kind of crave and you're desperate, they're not there. So all of a sudden you're on your own. But guess what? You've been through training before that showed you that you're on your own. It's all right. And this problem that you were going to face anyway, regardless of whether you've had good thoughts, positive thoughts, productive thoughts, you know, and you've had all these amazing intentions, this problem was going to come anyway, that you are better equipped to deal with it. It's not a case of if it comes, when it comes, and how many times.
Yes, so good, Jamie. I love that. And I agree. Like, 2020 was the great revealer. It revealed where you were in life, like how comfortable you are being by your own self, how comfortable you are just, you know, in your own life. It revealed all of that. It revealed other people. It revealed people's true colors. It revealed, you know, how people would respond in crises. By the way, like, that by itself is a gift, because do you know how many times, like, people are saying to you, oh, I'll always be here. Like you're saying, like, I'm a phone call away and all of that kind of stuff. But when a real crisis comes, you find out, like, if that was true or not, you know. And again, sometimes we don't think about that as being a positive thing. But, like, you would never find this out. You would never find this stuff out without having this situation. It could only be revealed when there's this kind of pressure being put on. So you find out about yourself, you find out about other people, you find out about what's truly important, where people are in their own resiliency and ability to connect, ability to have true friendships, true connections with other people. It really was a great revealer. And I mean, you know, like you said, you've gone through 11 months, you know, we've got 9 days, right? 9 days left. 10 days left in this year. Like, that's it, you know? So get what you can, learn the lessons now, because 2021, you should be fully equipped to enter into 2021. You know what I mean? Like, 2020 didn't leave anybody untouched. It wasn't like nobody was able to learn a lesson this year. Nope. Everybody was able to learn something. So hopefully you've incorporated that and you're prepared to enter into 2021, and don't lose sight of that. You know, the perspective thing that you were talking about, like, we're almost there.
You know, you said it was the great revealer. And also I like to say it was the great leveler, because it didn't matter who you were, what you did for a living. We was all in the same storm, right? Because I like to say that, like a lot of people say, look, we're in the same boat, right? But it's all about being in the same storm, right? We're all in the same storm, but we're all on different boats, right? So life is the storm. We're either going towards a storm in one, or we're coming out the other side of one, right? That's like the natural process. But it just seems to be that some people might be on a massive cruise liner. Some people might be on a luxury yacht. Some people might be on a fishing boat. Some people might be in like a little kayak. Do you know what I mean? Like a little canoe. Some people are just holding on to a bit of driftwood. Some people are treading water even. So we're in the same storm, but we're on kind of different boats, as it were. So this has been the leveler, and it doesn't matter whether you was a 300 million a year kind of sports star. You know, there was a problem, you know, that you could have run out of toilet paper. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody just all of a sudden, like we was all in the same situation. It was the leveler, and it showed us what was truly important for what people were craving at that time. So let's not let that go. Let's not let that go. Like, we've been leveled, we've been shown, we've been revealed, we've been given this gift. It doesn't matter what a gift looks like. Listen, it doesn't have to be a beautiful box. It doesn't have to be some kind of luxury toy or the keys to a beautiful car, like, and all wrapped up in a beautiful box with a lovely bow. Like, gifts come in many different shapes, sizes, and in many different forms and guises as well. So it's like you have to take a gift, no matter how harsh it is. No matter how sinister or severe, it is a gift if you look for it, if you look for the little crumbs of comfort, if you look for the little diamonds, like I say, because I've said that if if a jewelry store is demolished and you're just seeing all like the debris that's there, you would sift through all that debris of all the material, of all the bricks and all the blocks, looking for little tiny diamonds, because they're so valuable. And that is what looking for little lessons, little positives in major negatives is all about. It's like finding a little diamond. That's what it's all about. It's priceless, but you have to look hard, but it's worth it. So worth it.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I love that description about the jewelry store with the diamonds. I love that. And completely agree with you about the gift. Like, life will give you everything that you need. And sometimes that comes in the form of, a job where you can have income, and then you can, go on these amazing vacations and do all of the fun things that you want to do. And sometimes it comes in the form of a test or a trial for you to discover what actually you should be, what your priorities actually should be, and you're exactly right. Like, this is all part of that. And if you don't, if you try to just, like I said, just pick and choose which one you're going to take, like, no, I want that one, but I don't want to go through any of this stuff, you're going to continue to face the same situation instead of just learning about that, so that you're able to move forward, that you're equipped to move forward too, that you're able to raise your children equipped as well, and not letting them just kind of struggle and figure it out for themselves. Because I feel like a lot of people, Jamie, in our generation, and maybe even generations before that, had to figure it out by themselves, like really trial and error. Like, I know that that's true. Yep. A lot of my own process. Yep. And for you as well, it was just trial and error. And it's like, no, we know now, and we're giving away, we're helping people take the test that we've gone through, so that either when you do face the test, you're better equipped than we were, or potentially you just don't even step into the trap, because not all of the stuff you need to go through. Sometimes you have to realize, like, hey, I made a bad choice and I put myself in that situation, and I didn't really actually need to take that test. Always a good thing that comes out of it, for sure, if you're looking for it. But sometimes you can go smarter and not harder, and I love everything that you're talking about. And I love the analogy of that diamond store. Like, of course you would go through all of that rubble to find the diamonds. They're so valuable. You wouldn't leave not one of them still left in the rubble. And that is really like what life is. Like, this is a whole big mess. Let me try to find the diamonds.
Yeah, and they're so small, they're small in size, but just massive kind of, in value. And that's what we've got to realize, that's what, those little moments of happiness and joy, and and kind of us being exposed to ourselves and realization to ourselves of what we are and who we are and what we've accomplished. Like we get like that real element of satisfaction, you know, and those little moments, they can't be, you know, they can't be forgotten, right? They can't have a price put on them, right? They're absolutely priceless. So we've got to carry on looking, regardless of how much is in front of us, how much rubble is there. We've got to keep on looking. Got to keep it. It's going to be hard, but it's so worth it. So worth it.
That's so good, Jamie. Well, I don't know. We don't have any questions that have come through. You guys, do you have any questions? If not, we're going to start wrapping up this interview. Jamie, thank you so much for joining me. I love our conversation.
It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor and a privilege. You know, especially when it's do you fancy doing one tonight? Yeah. Should we do one? And it was like early hours of the morning for me with all the information being sent through, mate. Yeah, but you know what? Those are when some of the best results come. Is when you do it there and then. You know, you don't kind of hang about. And again, that's kind of analogy to life. Is like people kind of put stuff off. They put stuff off, and procrastination is kind of like massive. But you know, you've just got to realize, yeah, get up, get it done. And even if you're not doing it to a high standard, even if you're not doing it perfectly, you know, it's one of those that you have to just get up and do it. Like carry out the actions, show everybody the actions, like be the guiding light. Because I've always said that as a professional public speaker, it's one of them that talk is cheap. Like, listen, actions will always speak louder than words, and you have to go out there and show them your actions. This is an opportunity for everyone, because I truly believe that you were talking about generations past, Doc, that it's literally a case of, you know, they didn't have anything. Our nans and our granddads, great-granddads, they had natural resilience. Our mums and our dads, they had natural instilled resilience. And that's what we're dealing with now, is there's this kind of resilience and pressure used to fight against each other back in the day, right? But now we're dealing with higher pressures, like the pressures of social media, like body dysmorphia is just going off of the chain, like mental health, you know, suicide, blah, blah, blah. So that pressure is going up, but also we're dealing with natural resilience just going down. That's so we've got to bring it kind of up again. That's what we're battling with. And you just got to realize that what is good to us isn't necessarily good for us, right? So we often think that everything that is good to us is fine, and we take the choices. We make wrong choices all the time, and we will so often go for the easy track, right? We'll go on the easy road, but at the end of the day, it's literally the hard road that will give us our greatest reward. It will give us our greatest prize. So you have to remember that, you know, for what we choose to do will ultimately have an amazing kind of result at the end. So we make these wrong choices and we would want it nice and easy. 2020 has just said no. Listen, you are going to have this no matter what. It's not what you want, but it's what you need, because it is going to strip you back to the core. Job done.
Wow. Yeah, Jamie, that's so true. It really is. It's so true. We have a couple of questions that came in.
Okay.
Sarah, okay. How do I cope knowing that I have no justice in a toxic family? Do you want to answer, Jamie?
It's what? Sorry, please say that again, because it was going all fuzzy. There's a little bit of a delay, and it's going and it's freezing a little bit. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, it's so she asked, how do I cope knowing that I have no justice in a toxic family?
Okay, so that's an environment in which you're in, right? So the toxic family are bringing their toxicity. It's one of those that, right? So we learn things in environments in which we put ourselves in, right? We're either thrown into environments, or we go into environments ourselves, or life brings us environments that we have no control over. This, right? You can't change other people's actions, right? You can't change other people's mindsets, but it's how you deal with them. So if you are saying, right, so what justice is it you want? Like what is it you're wanting from them? What will satisfy you? don't take it so personal that this family, yes, it's hard because you're thinking these people should be here to love and support me, but it's all about how you deal with it. It's your reactions. Marcus Aurelius said we can do nothing about the outside events, but we can do everything about the control of our mind. When we acknowledge this, that's when we find strength. You're in this event, you're in this environment that you've got no control over, but you've got every control over how you respond to it. But I don't know what kind of justice that you want. And you know what? Speaking from a family where there has been someone taken through murder because of the nothing ever brings
Jamie, can you hear me? Oh, goodness. Well, we're going to try to get Jamie back on. If I could just add in something to what Jamie is saying is like, we can't, where I believe he's taking it is that we can't control what other people get, directly. There's actions that you can take in order to, Jamie, are you there? Okay. We'll see if he comes back in. But we can't control what other people get directly. There's actions that we can take if we want to affect a certain situation. But the number one thing that you have to be okay with is that even if what you think is justice in this situation never happens, you need to build a life that you are ready to live, that you want to live, that you are happy with. You need to find peace with everything that you've gone through on your own, regardless of what happens to these people on the outside of you, regardless of what happens in your family. And tips on how to, tips on how to cope being a scapegoat. Sarah, can you check and see, is this still, are we still on? I'm not sure what we're doing. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys, technical problems. How to cope being a scapegoat. First of all, that wall that Jamie was talking about building, like that's important. That's an essential thing that you need to have in your life, regardless of the situation. Whether you're in a toxic environment or not, you still have to have boundaries. You need to know where your limits are and how to handle people who are going to come in to your life to use you, abuse you, blame you, all that kind of stuff. You need to know how to stop that. And so instead of having, again, this victim mentality, and I'm not trying to say that that's how you are thinking, but instead of thinking like these things are being done to me, start looking at the situation on where have I given away my power and how can I start taking it back? At the beginning of the video, we talked a lot about this. We talked about giving up your power, giving up control of your own life into somebody else's hands, and particularly people who are not healthy, who cannot be trusted with that type of power, who do not want to see you succeed. So that's something that we need to take responsibility for and change our own actions. When we start changing our own actions, the things that happen on the outside of us, who we're connected to, and all of that kind of stuff, all of that, it flows from the changes that we've made first. The product of our external environment, except for when we're children, but as adults, the product of our external environment is a result of the choices that we've made, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy, right or wrong, all that kind of stuff. Our external world follows our internal world. If our internal world is a mess and we don't know who we are or what we're doing, we're going to make choices that reflect that type of mess, that reflect that type of unclarity, that type of value system. It will always reflect that. And so when we understand, like, I need to get my internal world in order so that I start making decisions and actions follow this healthy way of thinking, a very clear way of thinking in terms of goals, in terms of who you want in your life and all of that kind of stuff. Every decision that you make coming from that place, your external world will shift very quickly. You guys, I hope that answered your questions. Thank you so much for joining Jamie and I. Sorry we couldn't get Jamie back. I'm not sure what happened there at the end, but I hope you enjoyed this chat. Remember, like, to keep perspective of what's going on, that you're not going to be alone forever, that we're almost done with 2020, that there's still time to learn lessons from 2020 and apply them to 2021 moving forward, so that you can not only pass your test, but keep the ground that you take as you move forward, so that you don't have to keep repeating the same lessons over and over in life. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, a blessed New Year. And Jamie and I, I'm sure, will be back to do another live video soon. So you guys can take a look out for that. All right, you guys have a good day.